Hello and welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Sherry, a financial coach.
And I'm Val, a financial planner. And today we are talking about a client situation. And I'm going to share the client situation that came up. And then Sherry's going to share what her advice would be, and I'll share what my advice was. So this client is living at home, has a car that, yes, potentially needs work, but isn't a junker. But the want in this client versus the need is to get a new vehicle. Okay. So they have a chunk of money saved and they went to the dealership, and the dealership, as they do, said, this truck just came in. A lot of dealerships are going to be wanting this, or a lot of the, salespeople are going to want this. You can take it home tonight and see about it, right? But this is rare. This is rare. It was really well taken care of. It's a 2015 for context. It is not a full-size pickup. It is the Canyon Ford Ranger, that size. And this client has an SUV right now. They are living at home, but they're paying rent. So their income is disposable. Insurance will go up with this. And what else is important to share here? They do not have enough money to pay it outright. So in a typical situation, this would be financed through the dealership or through the bank that would pick up in their pool of lenders. In this situation, they're going to have help from a family member that is going to buy it, and then they will pay said family member a lower interest rate, flexibility around the payback of the loan. So a cool situation. But Sherry, what is your advice? Or do you need to know more?
I need to know more. General age range of this person.
Okay. Early 20s.
Okay. Current vehicle situation. Like you said, maintenance work, maybe not ideal, but current value, is there any loan
Current
against
value,
it?
no loan. You'd probably sell it for $4,000, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Would need some work to get it safetied. So let's say $1,000 of work to get it safetied.
Okay.
It runs. There is nothing wrong with it. Current date.
Okay. How far does the client live from where they work and spend social time? Close, far away, driving a lot, not so much?
We're not driving long distances. Work would be 15 minutes. Social would be anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe monthly, going a 3-hour round trip to see further away friends.
Okay.
But we're very local, within 20 to 30 minutes, kind of at all times, from the majority of life things.
Yep. And where does the client want to be 2 years, 5 years? Are they moving out? Do they have a really good situation with the parents where they've got separate living space? They're going to be there a long time?
Great question. Living space is great in terms of privacy, that aspect. Long term, I think part of it is this, I'll never own a home, but I want to own a home. But where do I want to own a home? And am I going to go back to school? So there's a lot of maybes and what ifs around this.
Yeah. And then what would be the purchase price of the vehicle, and how much do they have saved that they would be willing to put towards a vehicle?
So purchase price is $22,000, with taxes is $26,000. Keep in mind, this truck is already 10 years old. It has 150,000 kilometers on it. And what else is important here? I think that's it. Was there something I missed in your question?
What kind of payment would they be looking to make? I know you said there's flexibility there.
So
and what would the interest rate be from the friend, family
lump
member?
sum would be 50% down. So they've got $13,000, but that does eat up the majority of their savings. And then in terms of interest rate, 2% from the family member. I recommended, if this is the route we go, have a 6 to 12 month plan to pay it off completely, which is aggressive, maybe 12 to 18, but get rid of that and have it done with.
And does their cash flow allow them to do that?
It does, but it is a lifestyle change.
And okay, final question. Do they have any need to own a pickup truck?
I also brought this need up because my observation is no. But as we do, when we want something, we create it would be nice for this. And yes, absolutely. But up until current date, we have been fine without one. So it's very interesting how the human psychology can present a need for us. right? So this client comes to you, they share all this with you. Do you have any more questions before you kind of give like some feedback?
No, I think I've asked a million questions. And like, first, quick rant. I don't understand the perceived social status of a truck.
Norfolk County, baby.
But I remember when I was just driving that one parent had a minivan and the other parent had a Dodge Ram, newer. And of course, given the choice, I would choose the truck. But for me, I thought, well, the other choice is a fucking minivan. Of course, I'm going to choose the truck. But it does kind of feel cool driving a truck. But I feel like there's so much
100%
prevalence around like driving a truck is cool. And like, no shame if you want to drive a truck. If it works, that's
right.
But
yes,
if it's going to make a car payment, a $900 car payment instead of a $600 or $500 car payment, is it giving you that much extra joy? For me, if I was in that situation, I would drive the car until it died, because living at home, if car dies, there's probably alternatives in the short term to still get to work, have a social life, all of those things. Like, there's workarounds. And if you can put a good chunk away each month into your savings, like, what if they fast forward 12 months or 18 months and they've got that savings and they can just go and purchase a vehicle, and maybe it's a truck outright. And salespeople, they're conditioned to create artificial demand and
scarcity.
Like, they don't make 10 of these trucks. There's hundreds and thousands of them out there, I'm sure.
Yes.
It doesn't seem like it's that much of a gem. 10 years old, 100,000 kilometers. Probably a little research would show that they're more predominant than the salesperson is giving the vibe of. And it just, having a vehicle payment, if it can be avoided, it is a really good way to have more financial abundance and less financial stress, and you can live a life without a car payment. Like, this person is young. They are building a foundation right now, and they are on the cusp of building a foundation where they never have a car payment in their whole entire life. Because right now, if their car died and they were able to go purchase a car for $11,000, which they were going to put down on this vehicle, purchase a car for $11,000, do some research, find one that's got some longevity to it, which you can for $11,000, $12,000. There's this
100%.
perception that you can't get a good car for that. You can't get a reliable car. My car needs to be reliable. But you can get a car that is reliable, especially in a situation where this person isn't driving hundreds of kilometers back and forth to work every day. And then you just continue to put money into savings towards your next car, and you just keep doing that. Sell your car for, even if it breaks down and it's not really fixable, maybe you get $500 or $1,000 for your car 2 years from now.
Right.
But then you put that towards the next purchase price, and it's paving a really stable financial foundation for this person's future, to not have the pressure of, I owe family $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. Oh, it's more than that, because you said with taxes too. It's just,
well, it would be like 13. Yeah. So, and in this situation, my bias and my experience is continue to drive the vehicle you have until you cannot safely, / it takes too much of a repair. That's my gut feeling. Because when I was 19, I went to the dealership. I was told, oh my gosh, this is so rare. You need to put a deposit on this one if you really like it.
Drive it home today.
And I was like, oh my gosh, scarcity, scarcity, scarcity. Yes, need this. Put the deposit on. And my parents were really good at letting us figure things out for ourselves while sharing some guidance. And the question was, are you sure, from my dad? And I was like, yeah, I want it. Sign the paperwork. Completely forgot about taxes. So that, I think it was like $28,000, was in a $35,000 car loan. All I knew is that I could afford that payment and my insurance. That was all I was concerned about. So I look at that and I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that. So then I want to share my bias, which is, here's my story and here's why I would recommend drive this current vehicle, continue to save. But then I take but then I also share, because I don't want that client to feel like they can't talk to me about these things. I say, at the end of the day, you have to be okay with this decision. You're not making a stupid financial decision. You're not financing an $80,000 truck with a payment that you can't
Or a
afford at
$100,000
9%,
truck.
right?
Although if you do that,
So
if you've got the money for it and you love trucks, like it's all
right,
individual, and we do all have
right.
our biases and our beliefs and the things that we would do, and everybody's
Yeah,
so
and the
different.
things that we want. So for her, I said, we're not putting ourselves in a poor situation by doing this. She knew my story and my bias, and I said, you are going to get a lot of different opinions from every single person around you because they're going to share their story, their bias, their experience, and some are going to say heck yes, and some are going to say heck no. What is the most important thing is that you are making this financial decision, and you have to use the numbers and also use your intuition to like support or wait. I said, there will be another 2015 truck that comes on the lot. Do not listen to the sales tactics, because the other thing was, well, we'll sell it to you for 22, but if we put it on the lot, we're going to put it at 24. So then she feels like I'm getting a deal. This is right. So I said, there will be another option. Do not worry about that. Do not let that get to you, because I was totally under that spell when I bought mine. So I encouraged her to slow down and pause and know that she does not have to make a decision, but also to turn off all distractions. And whether you use ChatGPT for prompts or just ask questions like, what do I want for my future? How does it feel now that my savings are gone, but I have this vehicle, right? Like put yourself in both
Yep.
realities. Okay, I'm still driving this car and I've put $1,000 into it, but I have my savings over here. So go down both paths and see that greater picture. Like, I'm not going to have this paid off for 2 years, let's say. How do I feel knowing that I have that debt that I have to work off? So and that's why I wanted to have this as an episode, was that both of us have similar backgrounds where we're like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have done this. And
Drive
we
it
have,
into the ground.
right? And we have that piece of like, yeah, there definitely is, like, we judge people by what they drive, but we have no idea the debt and the payment attached to it. We do typically, but when we're seeing people, right? And they're absolutely like, I oscillate between a truck and a car, and I love driving the truck and I don't mind the car, but there is a weird thing about like, and it's not a status thing, it's just like, oh, I don't
I'm
know, maybe I
taking up
feel
more
cooler.
space. I'm bigger. Maybe that's
Yeah,
part of it.
I'm
I don't know.
bigger.
Like, we really live in a society that celebrates, oh, you got a new
Mm,
truck, you've got a new
truck,
vehicle.
yeah.
That's like, congratulations. That's awesome. Like, you must be doing so
Yes,
well. And I
yes,
wish we shouted from the rooftops so that we could celebrate I just paid off my car and now I'm going to start putting this $500 into savings for my next car or towards other debts
yeah,
and
yeah.
I can't remember where this came from, but like I've come across lots of stories where these billionaires, millionaires, they're driving older model cars. They're not
Hmm.
driving like new fancy cars, and of course some people are. But I'd love to see a chart, and maybe there's this data out there around like net worth and the car that you drive, because I think it's gone up, but last I heard, our payment average was five, six, $700, and
Uh-huh.
car payments now can be up to 7 years, regardless of the interest rate that you're paying. That's still a
Hmm.
really long term commitment to eating up your cash flow, and I understand the generation that's of the like, I'm never going to be afford to buy a house, so part of it is might as well drive a
Right.
new vehicle. But having no car payment does make owning a home more accessible. And yes, there's a lot
It's
of challenges to home ownership financially, and I understand, but having just more cash flow month to month gives you more choices, and
hmm
a
hmm
car has a big chunk of your cash flow.
It is. And I also encourage the more quantitative sides of compare the mileage, not the highway mileage, because you are not a highway frequent driver. So the whatever it is, like the in town, right? So compare the liters per 100 kilometer and compare that to your current vehicle. And then I shared what our full size truck takes, because there's those pieces that's like, look at the full picture. Your insurance is going to go up. So it is the dance between need and want and putting the pause in there. And not letting the sales tactics make you feel like you must make a decision
They're
or this is
so
never
good
going
at
to happen again
creating
in your life.
urgency. And really looking at, spend
So good.
10 minutes online on Auto Trader and really look at what is available, because the truth could be that, the truck's worth 18 and they're going to put it on the lot for 18 and they just see you coming and they're creating this urgency, and it's
Yes.
not worth what they're trying to sell it to you for.
No.
And
No.
I remember that when we bought one of our vehicles too. It's like, oh yeah, we just got it off auction. It just came off the trailer. And that's like, oh, it did? Oh, this is a gem. Take my money. I think they're so good at it. And that's their job. And
Right.
pausing and taking some time to step back can give you clarity around, is this as hot a commodity as they're making it seem to be?
Is this right for me? So that was one situation. And I would say that Sherry and I have very similar thought processes with our clients, where we do share our biases and stories, not in a way of shame or guilt, but in a way of like just sharing and being real. And we want you to ask the questions that we maybe at times didn't take the time to ask ourselves and learn from them. Knowing that we are there to support our clients, but we do want to help guide you. And if we think of like a trail guide, we want to be like, yeah, that plant right there gives you a wicked rash. Speaking from experience, don't touch it. But if you're going to have to step over it, here's how we would do it, right? So weird analogy, but had a visual, had to share it. Thank you for listening to the Mind and Money podcast, and we'll see you next time.